Hey there, everybody. We're back for another Thursday night football game. The New York Jets are hosting the Houston Texans. The Texans are coming off of a bye week last week. They are incredibly 6-0 to start the season. The New York Jets, meanwhile, are 1-6. Don't write off the Jets entirely. They've got a pretty decent team. They can make some plays, and this is very well a trap game that could rip Houston of their undefeated title. But obviously, we'll have to see how things pan out. A lot of good, a lot of bad for Houston over the first few weeks of the season. Heath Matlock is looking good. Keegan Whitfield has been getting some play, and he's been pretty good as well. Davion Pierce is really coming along. He's starting to put up 150 a game and, getting a touchdown, 2 or 3 touchdowns or whatever. Malik Collins, he's getting sacks. Our defense is still spotty at the pass defense, but our run defense is really stepping up. As you can see, Davion Pierce 2 weeks ago now, 3 touchdowns and 186 yards. Just a really incredible performance from our number one offensive option. If he isn't putting up, I don't want to say numbers like that because 186 is pretty unrealistic for week-to-week production, but if he's not putting up over 100 or getting a couple of touchdowns, then we're having a really rough week. We're going to start this one out on defense. Fairbairn is going to kick it off, and he's going to just punt it right into the back of the end zone. Almost a very long field goal through the uprights. So the Jets offense is going to take over at their 25. We'll get a look at Zach Wilson. He's got under 1,000 yards on the year. 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Not particularly impressive, but still, he's a young quarterback. He's something that you can work with. So they're giving him the benefit of the starting role, and I mean, we saw what happened when the Jets did that, about a decade ago now with Mark Sanchez and Geno Smith and those guys, but eventually you got to hand the reins over to a rookie, and the Texans are experiencing the exact same thing, and they've got a couple of rookies who are essentially playing tug of war with the keys at the moment. Not necessarily, it is pretty clearly defined. 1A is Matlock, 1B is Whitfield, but if you're Keegan Whitfield, what do you do with the time that you have given to you? You're trying to prove that you're the guy who can be 1A, right? So it is still a little bit of a tug of war, and if Matlock lets go just a little bit, then Keegan Whitfield can start pulling. So we'll take a look at the Jets on 2nd and 3. They're going to hand it off to Miles Sanders, but he gets tripped up on the shoulders, the very massive shoulders of the dancing Leighton Vander Esch. He's the Texans' tackles leader by a good margin. He's got about 60-something, I believe, whereas the next couple of people on the list have in the 40s, which is still a respectable number, but Leighton Vander Esch really, his bread and butter is getting tackles on the ground, short gains, or hopefully tackles for loss, sacks, that sort of thing. So 3rd and 4 now. Zach Wilson, he's going to get a nice pass, and we can't stop that, and that's really the times we need to be getting those stops. But Wilson to Wilson, that Wilson connection, they get it done, and the Jets are already at our 47, so they're moving along pretty nicely, and our defense, like I was saying, our pass defense is just having some trouble. I'm a big fan of CJ Gardner-Johnson, Jamel Dean, Jabril Peppers, but they can't do it all themselves necessarily. Jalen Pitre is a really good tackler, a really good, play recognizer, but I think he's definitely better at run defense. And as you can see for this game, actually, Jamel Dean is out, Brandon Cooks is out, and Devin Brown is out. So we're missing our starting center, our number 1 wide receiver, and our starting cornerback. So this could very well be a sneaky trap game for the New York Jets trying to get their 2nd win on the season. So it's going to be 3rd and 5 now. Miles Sanders starting out the day pretty roughly. He's only got 4 yards on 3 rushes. So it's going to be 3rd and medium for the Jets here. They're at their own 48, trying to cross into Houston territory. The snap, it's handed off to Sanders, and Sanders, he's going to get stopped just shy, so it's going to be 4th and 2. Not necessarily the worst drive ever for the Jets, but obviously, he would like to get a little bit more. I don't think the 3rd and 5 run call is necessarily the best one to make, but we'll see. So we got a little look at that there. He tried to just run it up the middle and ran into a whole sea of bodies. Something you can't really avoid when you're playing football. So they're going to punt it out to us. I don't really cover the actual punts, but I said, I'll try this one out, and then he immediately boots it out of bounds, which is, why I usually skip past this sort of thing. But Heath Matlock is going to take the field with his crew, and we'll take a look at his stats on the season. 1,400 yards, almost 1,500, 12 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. So, really, really solid start for the rookie Matlock, and obviously the 5 interceptions are his on the stat sheet, but as the one who's doing the throwing behind the scenes, some of those are definitely more me than him, and some of them are more him than me. That's just how Madden works out sometimes. The handoff to Pierce, and Pierce is going to run up for about a gain of 6. It's his first run on the day. I was almost really confused, and then I remembered that the Jets started off with the ball. So, 2nd and 4, the handoff. It's going to be to Pierce again. He's going to run up right up the middle, and he gets a good gain. He's got 14 in just 2 rushes. So, really good to see him starting off strong on the day. Obviously, something you gotta keep doing over the course of a NFL football game, but he's the one who really dictates the pace of this Texans offense, because if he's not getting good gains on these sort of rushes, then Heath Matlock is going to have to throw more, and he could make more mistakes, or he could take it over and make an explosive play, and Houston has a quick touchdown, but then didn't kill all that much time off the clock. Anyway, Connor here gets his first rush on the day, and he gets 8 yards. So, pretty solid pretty solid start on the ground for Houston. It's going to be another straight handoff, and this time it's Pierce who's back in the backfield. And he's got 27 on just 3 rushes. As I said, he's dictating the pace of this offense, and it's a bit faster than you normally get out of running backs in the NFL. He hasn't really been being held down to a rush of 3 yards or rush of 4 yards just yet. Surely that'll be happening soon, but he's wearing out this defensive line to start the game, and that's just exactly what you want to see. I know I've been saying that a lot, but he has to be the anchor on our offense, and if he's not the steady anchor who is doing the things that you'd expect him to do, then it becomes a lot more difficult for this offense to do what it wants to do. I have to mute the Discord channel because somebody has just sent 12 straight messages, and I really don't have time for that. 2nd and 4 now, Matlock looking for somebody. Nico Collins, he comes up with a pretty incredible one. That's Matlock's first pass on the day, and Houston is already at the Jets 30. So, pretty wild start. I think this is probably the least that Matlock has passed on a opening drive for the Texans this season. Pierce's worst rush on the day, he tries to get the outside of his blockers, and he just gets caught up on the bodies and will get dragged down for a loss of 2. But after the start that he's had for the day, you know he's going to get a couple of losses or short gains, and that's when you need your rookie quarterback Matlock to step up, get some yards back, and keep the offense going. That's really what we are looking for from Matlock. Is he keeps the offense going until he has a chance to make an explosive play to like Aguilar or Nico Collins or Brandon Cooks, or if Brandon Cooks were playing, if any of the options that he has. So 2nd and 12 now, Matlock snaps the ball, and he's going to find Aguilar on that slant right up the middle. That's a really good gain. We're going to be at the goal line, technically. 1st and goal, at the 9-yard line. That's what I meant to say, but my tongue got tied. It's a lot harder to speak when you know that you're being recorded. I'm not going to lie. part of the reason why I first started doing this series is when I was playing Madden. I was like, I basically like do game commentary to myself anyway while I'm playing. Like, I could just do this for like a wider audience. And then as soon as I start trying to do that, it's way more difficult. Anyway, James Conner gets the run while I'm talking. He gets 9 yards into the touchdown zone, into the end zone. God. 9 yards into the end zone for the touchdown. James Conner with a sleek little run there. Just had a wave of bodies collapsing in on him, but they just couldn't get to him soon enough. He gets his arm out and over the goal line. 6 points. Soon to be 7. So we'll skip a little bit here. It's been a couple of meager drives, but the Jets are in striking position. They're at our 15. Our defense has just not been stepping up. And Zach Wilson didn't have anybody there, but he just runs ahead, gets 4 yards after getting dragged down by Malik Collins. 2nd and 6 now. We're already in the second quarter. It's a handoff to Miles Sanders, and Miles Sanders almost got around to the edge. He gets a gain of 4. He's starting to pick it up a little bit. He's got 9 rushes for 34 yards. 3rd and 2 now. This defense really needs to stop. Wilson snaps the ball. And the throw to the out route. That is going to tie the ball game. He's going to lie down, make an angel, or he's going to... I don't know what he's doing. Did he give birth? I don't know. The animations are weird in this game. But all in all, this game is tied, and the Jets are saying, we want to be the ones. We want to be the ones to hand you an L. It's going to be us. Also, I remember very vividly playing and being very thrown off by the very long bell. Again, so we cut almost 8 minutes out because it was some uninteresting drives, and then there's a long reception in the simulation from Wilson. It was either to Wilson or to Elijah Moore, and now they're threatening in our zone again. And Juju Smith-Schuster comes up with a catch there. It's going to be 2nd and 3 at our 5. So not what you want to be seeing. I said this last time, we really need to stop here, and yeah, we really need to get them to just hold them to just 3 points or something like that. 3rd and inches now. Definitely got to be expecting the run. And they do run it, and Van Der Esch, he came up with the tackle, but Brandon Hall was able to just swing his arm out and get the first down. A decent football play. Can't really be mad about that, but if Van Der Esch could have just tackled him a little sooner, I know I'm talking shit on Van Der Esch when I'm the one using him. And that is a touchdown. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was just behind Wilson there. And now the Jets are going to take the lead. 14-7. Heath Matlock is trying to get his head in the game. He's, not used to being down, actually, like this. It's happened a couple of times this season, but mostly he's been playing from the lead. So, we got to see what the young quarterback can do when he's down a touchdown with 2 minutes to go on the clock. 2-minute drill now for Houston. Going to try out this scat play that I love so much. It's got a nice little movement to it, but sometimes it gets covered really well. Anyway, Nico Collins gets between his defenders. It was covered pretty well, but he got there on that slant route, and that's a good game. 2-minute warning goes off. We are at the 42 all of a sudden. So just like that, we are looking pretty threatening on offense. Matlock, nobody in the backfield with him. He snaps the ball. He rolls out, and he found... Oh, God. I say he saw a defender just looking to crush him. So it is 2nd and 10. Just made a little change. Jordan with a short gain of 6 yards. Heath Matlock 7 for 10, 92 yards through the first half so far. 3rd and 4, we hand the ball off to James Conner, and James Conner has a wide open lane for that first down. I was criticizing the 3rd and 5 run by the Jets earlier. I guess you could say the same thing about that, but that one worked out. 1st and 10 now. Heath Matlock finds Aguilar on the slant route. Aguilar, he's down at the 25. So just under a minute now as we're playing a little bit of the hurry-up position. James Conner is going to try another run. He's going to get ahead for the first 9 yards, it looks like. Well, 10 yards, but not the first down. Second and inches. Matlock hands the ball off to Conner again, and Conner gets dragged down just shy of the 10-yard marker. We've got the first, and the Jets have to start burning timeouts. So 34 seconds left on the clock. Matlock, he's got Pierce in the backfield now. Snaps the ball. And Matlock, makes a really bad pass. That's picked off. Picked off at the 10-yard line. Mosley gets the ball back to the Jets. And the Jets are going to be able to just run out the rest of this second quarter. And the Texans are going to start with the ball next half. So the Jets might try and make something happen. But that was right into 2 defenders. That had no chance at all. Bad pass by me, bad pass by Matlock. Get a good look at Miles Sanders' stats on the day. 563 and 125 touches. So, we will just get ahead to the next half, and we take back over. So down a touchdown. We're going to see what Keegan Whitfield can do now. Keegan Whitfield didn't play a single snap last week. It's the first time 2 weeks ago, since the bye. That was the first time in 6 games that Keegan Whitfield hadn't touched the ball, and he didn't complain. He was being very mature about it. But as a player who's looking to supplant the person ahead of him on the depth chart, you need every chance you can get, and so he didn't get any chances last game. So here he is now, however. 2nd and 6 to start out the half. I guess you could say that this switch kind of feels like a punish, since Matlock threw Pierce with a weird little leap into a tackle over those guys. You could say it was a bit like a punish, since Matlock threw an interception at the end of the half, and then we took him out and gave Whitfield the play, especially since we are down a touchdown. But we gave Matlock the chance to see what he could do down a touchdown. Now we got to give Whitfield that chance, right? And Whitfield throws an interception. So, oh my. Sauce Gardner, he's flexing on us for his home crowd. Not a good look from either rookie quarterback so far. And Keegan Whitfield, he gets so few pass attempts in a game too that is going to hurt him a lot more than one interception hurts Keith Matlock. Although obviously Matlock does have more interceptions in the season, so that's going to hurt him more in the long run as well. Van Der Esch stops Miles Sanders in the backfield. He's going to do something. He shouts, he screams. I'm never particularly crazy about individual celebrations like this, especially when your team is down. Like, I get if the game is tied or if your team is up or whatever, celebrate all you want, but if your team's down a touchdown and they're on your 43, shut up. But when a video game gives me the option to celebrate, I am going to celebrate. So Zach Wilson now. Zach Wilson, 15 for 17, 146 and 2 touchdowns. This is sort of what I'm saying about the Texans' pass defense. So the first 6 games of the season, we did a particularly good job of getting stops when we needed to, keeping points off of the board. But we're still making worse quarterbacks look better. Ryan Tannehill, Zach Wilson, I'm trying to think anybody else, but we played Ryan Tannehill twice now, and he's looked pretty good in both games. 1st and 10, C.J. Gardner-Johnson's going to bring his man down, bring Elijah Moore down after a gain of 7. So it's just all these quarterbacks are getting really good numbers against us because we just can't defend a pass for some reason. And Wilson makes a beautiful move. He spun off of a tackle, made another man miss, and he is down at the 2-yard line. The Jets are once again threatening to strike, trying to put Houston down 2 touchdowns. Just a nice little dot there, past Pittry, and made Bryce Callahan there look like a silly little duck. I believe that was Bryce Callahan. You'd think since I'm playing all these guys, I would have their like numbers and names recognized, but there are 53 guys on the roster. And oof, Elijah Moore has nobody on him. He extends the lead. It's going to be 21-7. Houston, they're really trying not to go down like this, but best laid plans of mice and men and all that. Obviously, being down 2 scores in the second half of a football game it's a tough ask to come back from. Not every team is the Tom Brady New England Patriots down 28-3 or whatever, 27-3 or whatever in the Super Bowl. Sometimes 2 scores is going to be enough, especially since you're going to get the ball back again with so much time in the clock. Anyway, Keegan Whitfield, he's still in the game. So Lovie Smith really trying not to punish him for that interception in a similar way you could say maybe we punished Matlock for his interception. But we are trying to get Whitfield his chance to play, especially since he didn't get it in the last game. But the handoff to Pierce now. Both quarterbacks can hand it off to Davion Pierce, and Pierce can make magic happen. He's got 49 yards on just 8 rushes. We think he'd have more runs on the day, but we have been playing from behind. Whitfield now finds Nico Collins for a wide open slant route. And that's a good game. So, yeah, Whitfield's first pass of the day was the interception. Just his second pass of the day is the completion for 26 yards. What do you think I'm going to stop being all stuffy, everybody? Probably, maybe never. I guess that's the worst part about spring coming by. 1st and 10 now at the New York Jets 35. Hand off to Davion Pierce. Pierce makes a move, and he has 6 yards. We're under 10 minutes now in the third quarter. Coming under 9 minutes now as well. Houston Texans are threatening, but they're still down 2 scores. Pierce, though, wide open. Wide open up the gut. He's got a big gain, 65-10. We are at the 19. We are officially in the red zone now. Sauce Gardner's third tackle on the day. Lovie Smith, he's trying to make moves, trying to keep his team in the win column. But, it's been a pretty rough going from both offense and defense today. We're not used to having just 7 points in the third quarter. Usually we've got a little bit more going on for us. The first quarter is usually, the first half is usually our strongest too. Whitfield, he's going to find Aguilar on the slant route for a gain of 11. Yeah, usually the first half is where we accumulate a lot of points. It can be 28, it can be 35 even. And then usually at that point, our lead starts slipping away, but we've accumulated so much that we can hold on for the rest of the game. James Conner now, he tries to run, he gets tackled though, and he gets spun down for just a gain of 1. Mosley's second tackle of the day. 2nd and goal at the 8-yard line now. Keegan Whitfield, James Conner, so in the backfield. At the handoff to Conner. Ooh, I thought he wasn't going to get a hold up. He's slipped through some bodies as he's tackled down at the 3. And this might be a little bit of a weird decision, but we do decide to swap out Whitfield on this very strong drive and see if Heath Matlock can finish it. We've had a few runs, and I wanted to go with a pass, and Matlock is our better passer. And would you believe it? Nelson Aguilar, Whitfield probably could have made that pass as well, but Heath Matlock finds Aguilar slipping past his defender, and it's going to be 21-14 now. So Houston, back within a touchdown, they're trying to salvage this game from the depths of hell. That was very dramatic. I didn't really have to be that dramatic, I know, but, I'm feeling the springtime allergy delirium. And we'll take back over. 23 seconds left in the third quarter. We are in striking position again on the Jets 33. Matlock, he's going to roll around, but very good coverage on that play. So part of the reason why I was skipping around a lot in this is there was just a lot of uninspiring offense aside from the drives where, the magic happened. Matlock rolling out, and he's going to try and find Aguilar, but he just overthrows him. So I cut out a lot because of that. there just, wasn't too much interesting going on. And the game overall itself was like the longest game that I played to this point. It was like 46 minutes. Kendrick Wilbon, the rookie, comes out with a really good catch in the air. He was covered pretty hard too, but he's down at the 7. So 1st and goal now for Texans going into the 4th quarter. It was the longest game that I played so far. It was like 48 minutes, where every other game's been under 40 just about. Maybe like 41. So I said that there's just a lot of, who cares offense happening right now, whatever. And I cut it out. But I know that does skip some of the context, because you're like, oh, well, how do they get past the 50-yard line? Well, you can assume we did some runs, we did some passes, we gained some yards, got some first downs, and that's how we ended up here. 2nd and goal now at the 6. Matlock, he snaps the ball, he rolls out, and he throws it away. It's not a very well-covered play by the Jets. So it's sort of the inverse our defense is. The Jets' rushing defense is just giving us all the space in the world, but their passing defense has been really, really tight, and our passing defense has been giving up every yard on earth, and our rushing defense seems to have been holding Miles Sanders pretty well. 3rd and goal now. 14 minutes on the clock. Matlock, he just hucked it away. He was under pressure as he tried to roll out again. So the Jets are going to be able to hold on to their lead. The game was trying to get me to go for the first down here, but I said I kind of just want to kick the field goal, because we've got 14 minutes left, and I have faith in my defense. I know this sounds a little weird, because we've given up a touchdown every time they've ended up in our red zone, but they have had some stall-out drives, and they've had a few stall-out drives in this half even. So, I say bring us within 4. If we get a touchdown, if we can hold them to get a touchdown, then, But anyway, as you see, 27 yards for Wilson. A lot going on here. 2 large scores, or 2 large receptions, but then Derek Stingley Jr., the interception. That was a really bad turnover for Zach Wilson in our red zone. So, like I said, I put my faith in our defense. I didn't play the defense, which is why I knew I could have faith in it, and we played it really well. Dameon Pierce, oh my god. He just murdered a man, and he ran up for a gain of 27, I think that was. So he's approaching 100 yards on the day on 15 rushes. That was he just annihilated a man. That was so fun to watch. It was really fun to play, but it's actually really fun to watch on the replay. So he's just got wide open green here, and then he just shoulders Baldwin and trucks right. That is the definition of a truck. Really fun to watch. Dameon Pierce, really fun to run with. Really just an impressive running back altogether. And as I was saying about his offense, he doesn't have 100 yards yet on the day. He's going to cross it here, I believe. Just hits 100 yards on the day. He doesn't have any touchdowns. I know James Conner does have 1. But we're down to score. And Dameon Pierce has had one of his less, productive days. Wilbon, the rookie, again on the crossover route. Heath Matlock finds him for a decent gain. And moving strong. I really like Wilbon. He's 6'5". He catches in traffic. He makes spectacular catches. He's not fast, obviously. He's fast for his size. He's not going to be blown by too many defenders, though. But because of his size, he'll be able to get up and make great catches, even while being covered. And it's, like with Dameon Pierce trucking that guy, it's really fun to watch. Hand off to Pierce now. He makes a man miss, gets a gain of 5. 2nd and 5 for Houston, coming up at 8 minutes left in the final frame. And Pierce, he's going to try and run ahead. He doesn't get the first. He gets just 3 yards. But 3rd and manageable for Houston. Really, I was comfortable going for the field goal earlier when we were on 4th down. But if we don't get the 3rd down conversion here, we might have to talk about going for it. But we do get it. Jordan, he almost got caught up on a defender. The AI running his route, but
got past and had a wide open drag, and I'm a big fan. I almost let him slip into free agency, and I don't think he was going to get picked up. We grabbed him right before preseason started. But he's been a really solid tight end. Not a great blocker, but he can get yards as a receiver, and he's a big body, So I'm a big fan of Brevin Jordan, and I'm glad that we picked him up. So 1st and 10 on the 10. The handoff going to be to Dameon Pierce, and Dameon Pierce, he has the touchdown. His first of the day for the Houston Texans lead. I thought he was going to get taken down before he got into the end zone, but just take a look at this here. He starts to get tackled at about the 5, maybe the 4, and then another 2 or 3 guys grab onto him, and none of them are enough to stop him from getting over the goal line. So it's 24-21, but just under 4 left in the 4th, and the Jets are threatening. They're jetting. They're jetting and they're threatening. It's 3rd and inches for them, and we can't let them get the touchdown. We really don't even want them to get the field goal to tie it, because that puts us in a really awkward position. But here is the snap, a handoff to Sanders, and Sanders has the first down and about 5 yards. He's got 85 and 23 rushes, so he's turned it into a respectable day. Not necessarily the best day, but he's probably part of the reason why they're still in this game. He's getting those smaller rushes, but he's getting the first downs and doing the little things you want to see your running back do. So 1st and 10 now at our 29. We're trying to enter the red zone. And Zach Wilson finds a man, and he keeps his feet in bounds. I couldn't even see who the receiver was because he went off screen. It was Juju Smith-Schuster. 2nd and 1 now. Approaching the 2-minute warning. This might be the last play before it if they don't get out of bounds. Zach Wilson finds a man up the middle. That's Elijah Moore. Wilson has 295 yards, 3 touchdowns. He does have 2 interceptions, but like I said, our pass defense is just making worse quarterbacks look like they are NFL. I don't want to say all-stars. He doesn't look like a star, but his numbers are, very good aside from those 2 interceptions. And even star quarterbacks live with 2 interception days some days, 1st and 10 at the 12. Zach Wilson, he's going to run it out himself. Jabril Peppers picks him up, and I make a wonky miss at a tackle, but he was sliding anyway, so it is 2nd and 5. I make a bad... C.J. Gardner-Johnson comes up with an end zone interception. Wilson's 3rd of the day. I was just about to say that I made a really bad read with Peppers. I left the guy wide open as I rushed in to try and get a tackle. But C.J. Gardner-Johnson just jumped on it and made a beautiful play. And from there, we can run out the clock. And we are still winners. Winners of 7 straight. The Jets fall to 1-7. Houston 7-0. It was a rough game. You don't want to be in that position against a team like the New York Jets. It was not a performance that I really want to be praising. But you just have to be happy that we eventually came away with the win. We did get 3 interceptions, 200 rushing yards on the day. Heath Matlock, I think, had a okay day. He wasn't particularly exciting. He didn't make any big connections for a touchdown, but after that first interception that he threw, he calmed down and was making smaller passes or shorter passes, making better passes, all that sort of thing. So we come away with the win 24-21. We'll take a look at these stats. Heath Matlock does have under 200 yards passing on the day. 14 for 23, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Whitfield, 2 for 3, just 36 yards and the interception. Zach Wilson almost had 300 yards passing, which we should never really be allowing. But we did pick him off 3 times, so I'm pretty happy with that. Dameon Pierce did end up with his 150 on the ground and a touchdown. Connor, 46 and a touchdown. Miles Sanders had 85, didn't score though. Nelson Aguilar, 57 yards and a score. Kendrick Wilbon, 57 yards. Nico Collins, 55. Just a very, very even performance from our receivers. All had about the same amount of receptions, the same amount of yards. Juju Smith-Schuster had 116 in a score. Elijah Moore only 58, but he scored. Decent day for the Jets receivers. Defensively, Van Der Esch and Dante Hightower are two middle linebackers. Nailed it with the tackles. Dante Hightower had himself an interception, and so did so did Josh Allen. Josh Allen has had a sack, actually. Sorry. Derek Stingley Jr. had maybe the most clutch interception of our season so far, because the Jets could have really jumped on top of us there. Just had one sack on the day, not necessarily inspiring, but we got the job done with the 3 interceptions. Again, I'm not going to complain about that. Got to work on our pass defense, but hopefully we'll do that next time. So next week we're going to be facing the equally bad 2-6 Denver Broncos. So I hope everybody has a good rest of your day. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you for that game against Denver. Bye-bye, everybody.